Hi, I'm Kristi Gustafson Barlette with the Times Union and timesunion.com, and welcome to 20 Things Plus, where we catch up with somebody we had previously featured in the Times Union's 20 Things You Don't Know About Me. Today, we are going to be joined by Brian Sinkoff. You may recognize Brian's name because he was a sports reporter for almost 20 years, a broadcast sports reporter. He was on TV and radio throughout the country, and locally he was on ESPN radio as well as News 10 ABC. Now Brian is in real estate, although he's still making videos, which we will talk about in a little while on Facebook. So he's still got some camera time, but his primary job is as a real estate agent with Muccio Real Estate Group in Albany. Hi, Brian. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Kristi. Thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it here.
Yeah, so we're going to, first we'll catch up. You'll update us on a couple of your previous 20 things and then tell us a few new things about yourself. So
Absolutely.
Let's start with the first one because it's about the real estate market, which I know is very hot right now. So tell us a little bit about this one. I know you had a record for selling a house, and what's happened with that? You broke it, right?
Yeah. So originally when we did the previous 20 things, I believe back in July of 2017, my record was 3 hours. Now, actually, big reveal, it is a whopping 15 minutes. The market is hot. It's proof is in the pudding right there. We listed the house. First agent came in. They pretty much had an offer written even before they came in and electronically sent it to us. I believe they might have been in that driveway right there. And it's a hot market and real without getting two X's and O's as far as why everyone's asking, Brian, why is real estate so hot right now? Because a lot of buyers that have been on the fence, prior to the pandemic hitting, they may live in an apartment. They're like, we may need to move. They've been locked down now for 3 months. They're on top of each other. They have no space. The interest rates are right around 3%. And they're like, now is a great time. Now is a great time to buy. So those people have basically said to themselves, oh my gosh, what are we waiting for? So it took them a while in the beginning of this pandemic to sort of, I always like to say they're in a cocoon, right? They hatched from the cocoon. They were ready to buy. And so a lot of buyers had turned into butterflies, but the sellers are still in that cocoon. I think the seller's mindset is, we don't mind going to the grocery store for 15 minutes. Do we want everyone in the grocery store coming into our house? And obviously it's a personal decision. A seller has to be comfortable with it. Heck, a buyer has to be comfortable with going into a home to look. But I think there was a lot more buyers that sort of turned into those butterflies than there have been sellers. And that is why we've had such a disparity of amount of buyers way up here, amount of sellers here. So supply and demand, hence the 15 minutes.
Yeah. So houses are kind of like Clorox wipes right now. If there's one available, you don't have time to think, you don't maybe care about the brand or the location. You just grab it if it looks like it might be good enough.
By the way, and when this pandemic, it's funny that you mentioned Clorox wipes because my wife still rips me about this. I spent $23 once for Clorox wipes. $23 at a hardware. At a hardware store in April. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you got ripped off.
I totally got ripped off.
I could have pulled up a bottle from my basement and maybe given it to you.
Yeah, I probably should have asked someone on one of my Facebook friends to help.
Yeah, a friend. If it's a friend, they're not charging you $23.
Yeah, right.
The next one, and I like this too because this is actually an activity people have been doing during the pandemic. Although you did it beforehand, and originally you had told us you had never been to a drive-in movie. Has that changed?
Yes. I think back then I was never in a drive-in movie, but I had gone parasailing. We did that in Lake George when my son was like 6.
Because they're totally similar, but okay.
What's that?
I said because they're totally similar.
No, not similar, but you would just never think like you would go parasailing, but you'd never been to a drive-in. Like it's just... people don't fathom that. But I grew up outside of Washington, D.C. We didn't have a lot of drive-ins when I was a kid. Land was there wasn't a lot of land to have a big drive-in. That was more worth a housing complex or something. Not meaning to talk about real estate. But yeah, went to a drive-in in summer of 2018. Went to see Incredibles 2. Now, I did not realize that a drive-in movie consists of 2 movies that don't start till it gets dark at like 9:30. So I'm like, my son fell asleep about 3/4 of the way through Incredibles 2. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like 11:45. There's another movie after this. Do you get through the second movie at a drive-in?
I don't get through the first movie at the drive-in because I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night.
Oh,
So
all right.
no.
All right. So I'm like, and people, I'm like leaving after Incredibles ended. I'm looking around going, there are people still staying here.
Oh, so you just stayed for one and you left for the second?
We were done. Oh yeah, we were out.
Yeah.
One and done.
If you started the drive-in at like 6, I could maybe handle it, which obviously it wouldn't be dark and you couldn't, but no,
Right.
Way too late. I haven't seen 11:45 probably ever. Not even in college. Not my
Really?
No.
Oh,
No.
I was a big night owl, especially in my TV days. Yeah.
So I haven't seen a drive-in movie, I think, since Back to the Future, just to put it in perspective, when I was maybe 13. So it's been a long time. All right. Now you're going to give us 3 new things about you, 3 additional things to your 20 things. And we definitely need to know about this because I think with all of these we've done, this is the first time we've had a shirtless picture on 20 Things Plus. So tell us a little bit about
I'm sorry. So this is not me being vain Brian Sinkoff. There is a reason for this photo. So about a year ago, probably last June, I had, you see pictures of yourself on Facebook and things of that nature. So this picture was taken, I think July 7th. So that one you're seeing there with me with no shirt on. Thank you. About a year ago, June of 2019, I had gone home to Washington, D.C. to visit the family. And I was looking at pictures of myself and I just said, wow, I really fallen off the wagon. I wasn't feeling good about myself physically and mentally. And my wife, who has been my inspiration in all this, she'd love to hear that. She has always worked out. She was going to Metabolic in Del Mar here, and she'd been working out since like 2017. She's looked so good. She lost a lot of weight, just looks so healthy. And she's kind of been my motivation, have been pushing me. But I saw pictures with a year ago, and I really said it's time to do something. So last July 7th of 19 was when I started going to Metabolic, started going to the gym. That picture taken was 1 year later exactly. And I was getting in the shower and my wife said, oh my God, it's the year anniversary. Look at how much progress you make. Let's take a quick picture. And then I just said, I'm going to post it on Facebook. I might post a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I don't necessarily post shirtless pictures of myself. And I only did that because I was just showing the progress, like I did a before and after. And
you did Metabolic Meltdown as well, correct?
Yeah, that's what I did. It's now called Metabolic, but yeah,
it's called Metabolic.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's the intense workouts I did when I wrestled in high school, like that level.
Similar, I think, to Orange Theory, where you get like a really intense, quick workout and it's a full body and has full effect. So how many pounds did you lose?
I have lost, I put on a lot of muscle. I've actually probably dropped 16 pounds in a year, but I'm short. I'm only 5'5". I went from 170 to 154.
That's awesome. Very cool. Congratulations. All right. Now your next one. This is, I mentioned this in the beginning, how you've got these Facebook videos and some of them are very bizarre. One of them reminds me of a 40-year-old virgin with the waxing. You put on some makeup. Last night I was watching them when we were in the bathtub. So how did this come about? And tell me a little bit about this one.
All right. So right there, you're seeing basically remaining positive on Facebook over the last few months during all of this. So that's me as Eminem rapping Without Me. Remember the video? He dresses as Robin with the Eminem Robin suit on. So this pandemic started in March and we were all depressed. We were scared. Let's face it. We were scared. We were nervous. We still are. And you see so much stuff on Facebook and not even don't even want to go down the political aisle on this one, for lack of a better term. But I said, let's do something. I wanted to do something on Facebook positive. I wanted to make people laugh. I wanted, when people saw Brian Sinkoff on their timeline, they didn't see some meme politically or some silly thing, that may not even be true. I wanted people to see, they're going to look at Brian Sinkoff's Facebook page and I'm going to make you laugh. And you could see top left, I'm rapping there again. Top right, we had family game night. My wife and I did like the newlywed game. Zach was the host. That's my son. My wife's on the left. Bottom left is my wife and I in my backyard. This was all on Facebook Live. We did Eat It or Wear It, where we flipped a coin. We had relish, and I had to eat the relish if I had heads or tails. And then the other option was you had to wear it. So whoever didn't eat it, the other person wore it, and vice versa. And then bottom right is me, James Charles, right, of Bethlehem, eat your heart out. I did a full makeup. Yeah, full total makeover. Yeah,
with your makeup, or did Francine did your
Francine on Facebook Live did my makeup. Yep, she was awesome. She's become the star of all this, which is really good. But she did my makeup. She waxed my chest one time. And again, I just want people to laugh, because we're all living in a bad time right now. And we were doing this regularly on Wednesdays. It was initially called So What You Want Wednesday.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, I'd put up 2 things you vote on. I'm going to step on Legos barefoot or take an ice bath, and it was and then it just sort of morphed and got bigger and bigger. And since the lockdown sort of ended, we went back to like phase 1 and 2 in May. We haven't done it as much on Wednesdays, but probably once a week. Like last week, her and I did the whisper challenge, where you put headphones on and you'd say phrases and you have to guess what the other person is saying. So look, I think it's for mental sanity. I want to make you laugh. I want other people to laugh. And to be blunt with you, even my mom said to me, she goes, Brian, you need to start doing these videos again to make you laugh. Because we all have bad days. We all have down days. We have days. If you haven't cried during this, I'll raise your hand if you cried during this pandemic. Absolutely. My wife said I've cried more in the last 4 months than I did in the 20 years she's known me. So I think if it can make you laugh for 1 hour and you are entertained, mission accomplished. And one of our neighbors said to me, my new favorite show is So What You Want Wednesdays at 8:00 on Facebook Live. And that meant a lot to me.
Now, before we go on to your last one, tell me which of your videos had the most views? Which of those videos had the most views?
I think the chest waxing.
And so people can find that one or all of these by going to Facebook and looking at videos.
Yeah. So basically just go to Brian Sinkoff, and I made all of those videos. I did that on purpose. Like, most of the stuff obviously is friends content, but all of those funny Facebook videos, I made them so everyone can see them on purpose, because I wanted everyone to be entertained.
All right, perfect. Now the next one, this surprises me. I even read it twice to think, is he doing this just to tease us, or is this really his third thing? Is he want to make sure we're reading, or is this the third thing? Because like I said, you had 20 years in sports broadcasting. And I think people they associate with real estate, of course, but they also associate with sports. So how did you come to this realization?
Look, I think a lot of people, sports fans, don't ever remember April, May, June, July without baseball, right? Or they don't remember it without the NBA or the NHL playoffs. And you often hear the term put things in perspective, and it's kind of a corny term, I'll be the first to tell you. And I don't even know that it's put things in perspective, may not be the right term. How about just refocused what's important to me? And, it seemed like every night my wife used to joke with me, she'd become an NFL widow in the fall. Like, that's it. Brian's done Sundays. Brian's done Thursdays. Brian's done Saturdays. Brian's done Mondays. There was always seemed to be some sort of game I had to watch, especially when I was in the industry of sports where it was my job. I had to watch and pay attention. During this, it's like my son and I can play a video game or watch a movie together, or Francine and I can do a funny Facebook video, and I'm not missing sports. You know what I mean? And they don't matter in the big scheme of life. And as much as I love them, I feel like I don't need them. And that, you're right, that is a pretty earth-shattering thing for me, because that was my livelihood, that was my career. But
I get it. I think you make a good point. I think we all start to both evaluate and reevaluate, and then we also start to realize, oh, I could live without that, or you know what, this is not so bad, because there are other options, and we do discover other things, whether it's doing puzzles with our family or going to the drive or things like that. So no, that's interesting to hear. So yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, and for the honesty too, because as somebody who is in the sports industry or was in the sports industry, I think people would definitely find that one surprising. Mm-hmm. All right, so Brian, what we do at this point is we tried to guess, you and the viewers and the readers tried to guess who will be featured on Monday's 20 Things You Don't Know About Me, the list form on timesunion.com. So people
Okay.
can take a guess by tweeting at Times Union, tweeting at Just Kristi, or commenting on the Times Union's Facebook page on this video. And I will give you 3 clues. I might give you a bonus clue because this one is tough. This man's awesome, but his name might not be ultra familiar because I will tell you he just started his current role in March of 2020, but he's been active where he works for many more years than that. All right.
All right.
So
I'm ready.
The first one is, every tie I wear has purple in it. I started doing this 10 years ago at my oldest daughter's request and have continued ever since.
All right. So I'm going to say his daughters are probably in their 20s, maybe. So he might be in his 50s. We're trying to guess here.
I don't know his exact age, but I think that is fair.
All right.
My guess is he's probably in his 50s. Okay.
Okay. All right. See,
He's definitely not in his 40s. So I think you're right. He's in his 50s. All right.
All right. Well, and whoever it is, I don't want to offend and like divulge your age, but I'm just trying to figure out what genre.
So that's why I'm saying he's definitely not in his 40s, so we won't offend him by that. Okay.
All right.
I went to medical school on a military scholarship and went on to serve for 20 years. I retired a Navy captain and spent the majority of my time as a battalion surgeon with the U.S. Marines, with tours to Somalia and twice to Iraq.
Well,
we've narrowed down his industry.
Well, whoever it is, thank you for your service, sir. That is awesome.
He's awesome. He's a pretty awesome guy. And the last one, this isn't going to even help you. I just had to throw this one in there because I think it's so bizarre. I can write upside down and backwards with both hands simultaneously.
Wow. That is like a David Letterman stupid pet tricks, stupid human tricks deal, right?
Okay,
I don't know.
So obviously he's in the medical field. He has a very high ranking position, and he assumed that position in March of 2020, but he was with the place he worked for much longer than that.
All right. I was just thinking like James Barba, like Albany Med. But he's obviously
close. You're getting
really
very, very close.
Did he take over James Barba's spot?
Albany Med is pretty darn hot. I'll tell you that much.
Family game night. See, Kristi, this is why not watching Oriole games in April has helped me right now. This is it.
Okay, I'm not telling you you're right or wrong, but I'm just saying you're very hot with Albany Med and purple tie in the military, and he's definitely at least in his 50s. So if anybody wants to take a guess, they can tweet us at Times Union. They can tweet me at Just Kristi, or they can comment on the Times Union's Facebook page. And you can find out for sure on Monday morning at 7 a.m. on timesunion.com when 20 Things You Don't Know About Me goes live. Thank you again, Brian. I appreciate your time. Have fun with your videos and enjoy your time sports free. Although baseball's back. So,
yes, baseball's back, but we'll see you. We're having fun, and everybody be safe out there. And Kristi, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. Bye-bye.